Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the web session on Japanese Government Scholarship organized by the International Relations Office of University of Peradeniya in collaboration with the JICA Sri Lanka Office and the Japanese Embassy in Sri Lanka. I'm Shamali Tennakon from the International Relations Office, and I'm happy to be your host in today's program. It's 11 a.m. and we are about to start the session. Please be kind enough to turn off your video and microphones. And please feel free to put your questions in the chat section below. At the end of the session, we will try to provide answers to them as much as possible. First, I would like to invite Professor C.N.R.A. Alas, Director, International Relations Office, University of Peradeniya, to deliver the welcome address. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much, Shamali. Good morning, everybody. Distinguished guests, panelists, colleagues, and students. It's given me a great pleasure to welcome Ms. Yuri Ide, Senior Representative, JICA Sri Lanka Office, and Mr. Kenji Inoue, the First Secretary, Embassy of Japan in Sri Lanka, all the distinguished guests and students. So during this week, one of the purposes behind the orchestrating this international week is multifaceted. According to our objectives, one of our objectives is to introduce international funding opportunities and promote higher studies in overseas, and promoting international collaborations. We are pleased to actually announce a fully funded program collaborated with JICA, and we have organized actually a fully funded program from JICA actually. And in collaboration with the Sri Lanka Japan Study Center, we aim at introducing international funding opportunities and promoting higher education for both staff and students at the University of Peradeniya. Especially during this International Week, our sincere appreciation goes to the Embassy of Japan in Sri Lanka and the JICA Office Sri Lanka, and Dr. Panduka. He was the acting director of Japan Sri Lanka Study Center of the University of Peradeniya for your invaluable assistance and your participation and your cooperation. And I wish you a very good day for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. As the first presentation, I would like to invite Ms. Yuri Ide, Senior Representative of the JICA Sri Lanka Office, to educate you regarding the JICA Development Studies Program. Over to you, Ms. Yuri Ide.
Thank you very much. Could you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. And Dr. Alex, Dr. Panduka, and all other, and Mr. Kenji Inoue from the Embassy of Japan, and everyone. Hello, everyone, and thank you for having me today for this session. And my name is Yuri Ide. I'm Senior Representative of JICA Sri Lanka Office. Today, I would like to introduce two of JICA programs. One is JICA Development Studies Program, JICA DSP, and the other is SATREPS, as I consider those two programs would be of interest of the students and professors at the universities in Sri Lanka. I would like to start with a brief introduction of JICA. As you may know, JICA, Japan International Corporation, is one-stop shop agency of the official development assistance by the Japanese government. Our vision is leading the world with trust, and human security and quality growth are our missions. Please go to the next slide. So JICA started the cooperation for Sri Lanka about 70 years ago, and we opened our office in Sri Lanka in 1982. To provide various technical cooperation, we have accepted many trainees in Japan from Sri Lanka and also dispatched a number of experts and volunteers. Please go to the next slide. We also implemented various infrastructure projects to contribute to the social and economic development of Sri Lanka in various sectors such as water, transportation, power, and others. One very important cooperation by JICA is its scholarship program. We have dispatched more than 200 masters and PhD scholars to Japan from Sri Lanka. Unlike the program that Mr. Inoue will explain to you later, JICA's program is not a scholarship program open to the students generally, and however, we mainly send the government officials to Japan for the master's and PhD programs at the Japanese universities. Please go to the next slide. In addition to the programs provided by the universities, JICA started an original program called JICA Development Study Program, JICA DSP, several years ago. This program provides the opportunities for the JICA scholarship students studying in Japan to learn about the experience of Japan's modernization. Please go to the next slide. And for JICA Development Study Program, we have developed a series of video lectures, which includes the topics of party politics, economic growth, educational development, and please go to the next slide, and modernization of administrative system, fiscal and monetary field, and others. And you can see some of the details of those programs. And as you may know, Japan is the first Asian non-Western country experienced the modernization as well as the defeat in the World War II. Please go to the next slide. So I talked about the JICA development study programs in Japan. And this JICA chair, hoping that sharing the experience of the modernization in Japan would be helpful for the young generation, next generation young leaders in many countries. We started this JICA program, JICA chair program, about 3 years ago. And this JICA chair program is an expanded version of the JICA DSP, in which we work with the leading universities in our partner countries to share the experience of the modernization in Japan. Please go to the next slide. So in Sri Lanka, we started this JICA chair program at University of Peradeniya in 2021. And we started JICA chair at University of Colombo last year. You can see the program this year, in 2023, at the University of Peradeniya. From this year, in addition to the video lectures, we increased the number of the in-person lectures by Dr. Ogata, who talked about the agriculture development in Japan. And we will also have our former president, Dr. Kitaoka, at University of Peradeniya next month, who will be talking about the modernization of Japan. And we also had a Japanese company visit in October. We visited Colombo Dockyard to share some experience of the Japanese management and in the context of the economic growth in Japan. And most of the program can be joined both in person and online. I hope that many of you can join us today, join us to enjoy the JICA chair program in the rest of the year. Okay, thank you. Please go to the next slide. I would like to move on the next topic, SATREPS. This is mainly for the researchers and the professors at the universities. SATREPS stands for Science and Technology Research Partnership for Sustainable Development. We started this program in 2008. This is a joint program, a joint research and capacity development program supported by JICA, Japan Science and Technology Agency, JST, and Japan Agency for Medical Research and Development, MEXT. Currently in Sri Lanka, we are supporting a project called Project for Early Warning Technology of Rain-Induced Rapid and Long-Traveling Landslide in Sri Lanka. It's a joint project in the disaster risk reduction area led by University of Tokyo and NBRO. And some professors and researchers from University of Peradeniya are also the members of this project. Please go to the next slide. The objectives of the SATREPS, the Joint Research Project, are described here. Through the international cooperation on science, technology, and innovation, we would like to address the global issues such as the environment, bioresources, natural disaster prevention, and infectious disease control, etc. The important thing is that there are 4 targets as described here. As I said, the environment and energy, bioresources, natural disaster prevention and mitigation, infectious diseases control. We supported the project only in those 4 categories. Please go to the next slide. Thank you. It shows the framework of the SATREPS project. So JICA supports the project activities in the recipient country here in Sri Lanka. And so our main role is to support the activities in Sri Lanka. And JST and AMED support for the project activities in Japan. The activities includes mainly three things. First, we dispatching Japanese researchers from Japan to the research institution in Sri Lanka. And next, we can invite the Sri Lankan researchers and students to Japan for their research purposes and also scholarships. And also we can provide some equipment to the research institutions in our partner countries like Sri Lanka. And as you can see, the partnership between the research institution in Japan and the research institution in Sri Lanka are very important to implement the SATREPS projects. Please go to the next slide. This slide shows the application process for the SATREPS project. As explained here, the pre-coordination for the international joint research between the 2 research institutions in Japan and Sri Lanka should come first. And this is a very important process. And after that, Japanese research institution submits the research proposal to JST and MEXT. And the Sri Lankan research institution submits the application to Japanese government through ERD, the Ministry of Finance. As it is a joint research project, only the applications passing the matching operation has the chance to be approved. So if you are interested in implementing this SATREPS project, please start the discussions with any Japanese research institutions, universities, and we are happy to provide any support. If you are interested in the joint research with Japanese universities and this SATREPS program, please visit our website. I put the 2 links for the details of this program. I'm really sorry about the many interruptions due to the technical, the connectivity issues, and but I hope the introduction of 2 programs, JICA DSP and SATREPS, be of some help for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Yuri Ide. Actually, it was a very detailed presentation. Thank you very much. And I think many of our participants also have some questions as well. At the end of the session, we will ask those questions so that you can help them to get clarified all those questions.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Now, I would like to invite Mr. Kenji Inoue, the first secretary at the Embassy of Japan in Sri Lanka, to conduct the information session on Japanese government scholarships. Over to you.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I would like to thank University of Peradeniya and JICA for giving me this opportunity to talk about Japan scholarship program. And my special thanks go to Professor C.N.R.A, Sri Lanka Japan Studies Center, and JICA Colombo Office, especially Ide-san. Thank you very much. And I would like to welcome all the students, aspiring students, and teachers, faculty members for this session. So, as many of you are already aware that the government of Japan has been conducting the MEXT, which is short for the Ministry of Education of Japan, scholarship program. This program itself started back in 1954, so it has been around for quite a while. And the Sri Lankan has been the active participant to the scholarship program since then. And I think you have already, the administrator of this Zoom meeting, I think you have already received the PowerPoint slides.
Yes, we have. Is that okay if we share?
Okay, yeah, if you could, yeah, share it on the screen, that would be great.
Okay.
Great. So can you go on to the second page, second slide? Wonderful. As I just said, it started in 1954, so it's been around for about 70 years. And 75,000 students from 160 countries have gone to Japan to study. And the next slide, please. So there are basically 2 ways to get the government of Japan scholarship program. One is embassy recommendation, and the second one is university recommendation. And I will focus on explaining the embassy recommendation because the university recommendation, the number 2 on the slide, is for the students to directly work with the universities in Japan and get the approval and finally get the scholarship. So it's kind of one-to-one type of scholarship. What the embassy is doing is number 1, the embassy recommendation. The next slide, please. Next slide, please. All right. So there are basically 5 different programs within the MEXT scholarship program. And the most prominent of those are research students, undergraduate students, College of Technology students programs. The other two, teacher training students and Japanese studies students scholarship programs, for a very narrow segment of the students. Teacher training students programs only for the teachers who are currently teaching in Sri Lanka and who have already has a necessary qualification in the teaching profession. And the Japanese studies students are only for students studying in the Japanese studies programs at Sri Lankan universities, namely University of Peradeniya, Sabaragamuwa University, Rajarata University. So these programs are very limited in scope, but the research students, undergraduate students, College of Technology students programs are open for almost everybody who are eligible. Next slide, please. So number one, I would like to talk about research students, which is for basically the master's degree program. The students who are the recipients of this scholarship program need to be under 35 years of age. And once you get the scholarship, you will go to one of the Japanese universities and you will enroll in a master's degree program, basically. And if you do well, you will be upgraded to the doctoral course student. And the field of study, when we talk about the field of study, it can also include, everything between the social sciences, humanities, and science and technology. But when we look at the students who are actually going to Japan from Sri Lanka, we have seen a predominantly science and technology students going to Japan from Sri Lanka. One reason is that the science and technology doesn't really require high proficiency in Japanese, and science and math and all those codes and functions and the formulas, they are already their own language. So anybody can understand that. And then if you go to Japan and study those areas, there won't be any problem, especially you will not face much language barrier there. So I think probably that's that is the major reason why Sri Lankan science and technology students are going to Japan on this scholarship program, while we are not seeing many students going to humanity and social science areas. So next slide, please. The next one is undergraduate students, and this is, as the name suggests, it's for undergraduate students. It's a 5-year program, and when you get this scholarship, you go to Japan, you have a 1-year Japanese language training, and after that, you will enroll in 4-year undergraduate program at one of Japan's universities. So this one, unlike the research students, undergraduate students program is extremely competitive. Especially the research students have some country quota for Sri Lanka. So there are a certain number of students who are actually going to Japan, but for undergraduate students, it's a competition between countries. So even if you are number 1 or number 2 in Sri Lanka, if you're not good enough in the world, and if there are better students from the United States, from UK, from India, from other countries, you can still fail in the selection process of this scholarship program. So if any of you are planning on applying for the undergraduate students program, you will definitely need to improve on your the math skills English language proficiency and also the Japanese language proficiency to be successful. So next slide, please. So the third one is College of Technology students, which is probably not as popular among students as other programs like research and undergraduate students. The College of Technology, we have in Japan tens of colleges of technology, and they are basically for a 5-year program and a 5-year curriculum, where the students will gain knowledge of the high school level plus 2 years of the first 2 years of university level education. So it's a 5-year program, slightly lower in level than undergraduate, but it starts with the college, high school level. I think it is a college level in Sri Lankan terms. The 3-year high school level education plus 2 years of freshman, sophomore level, university level education, and they focus on engineering, electrical and the electronic sciences and information technology, and those science technology areas. They focus on this. So there's no economics or international relations, humanities or something like that. But if you apply to a College of Technology, you will, like undergraduate students program, you will definitely need to hone your math skills, science skills, knowledge in physics, sometimes biology and chemistry, English, of course, and the Japanese language, of course. And this is also similarly competitive as the undergraduate program. So next slide, please. So I will quickly go over the selection procedure. The selection will take quite a while, starting from April of each year, and application will start in April, and the application process, application will be open for about a month, and then after getting all the application forms, we will close the application process in May, and we will go over all the documents, and then the applicants will be asked to sit in a written test, and it's examination. Depending on the program, you will either take the test in English language, math and science subjects, and also the Japanese language. For research students, Japanese is not a requirement, so you don't have to worry about if you move on to the graduate level education in Japan. So, and when you are successful in the written examinations, you will be asked to sit in an interview in July. And then, looking at all the results of the paper test and the interview, the embassy will recommend the prospective students to Tokyo. So this is why and where this program is called the Embassy Recommendation Scholarship Program. So the embassy will recommend the apparently successful in the future type of students to Japan. And finally, the final decision will be made by the Ministry of Education of Japan. And the students who have been selected by the Ministry of Education will be notified sometime in January the next year. So if the next selection process starts in April 2024, and the successful students will be notified in January in 2025. That's basically the timeline of this selection process. Next slide, please. Okay, so I have lightly touched on the exam subjects. So I will give you more comprehensive and specific information on that point. So research students, as I said, English is a must, and the Japanese language is kind of subsidiary position, and it's not as important as the English language. So if you want to be successful in the research student scholarship program, you definitely need to be proficient in the English language. And luckily for the students who are applying for the research student, there are no math or science exams. What will be important will be your GPA, and especially your GPA points in subjects that are related to the research topics that you want to do in Japan. So it's important that you do well at the undergraduate program right now at the University of Peradeniya. Assuming that most of you are from University of Peradeniya, you need to do well on your program that you're currently working on at University of Peradeniya, and at the same time improve on your English proficiency. So that will be the path to success in this program. So for undergraduate students, you will be asked to take more subject examinations: English, Japanese, chemistry, physics, mathematics. So there are, I think you don't need to take all of this. I think you will be asked to do one of those science topics plus English and Japanese. But the Japanese will be required. And as I said before, the undergraduate program, along with the College of Technology program, will be a competition among countries, not within Sri Lanka. So doing well in Sri Lanka may not be enough. If we look at the data in the past, undergraduate, the success rate in undergraduate and College of Technology is extremely low in Sri Lanka, and the positions are taken by students from other countries. So you would definitely need to improve on the English, Japanese, plus mathematics, especially. And mathematics is probably the hardest part for you if you want to prepare for this exam, because of the kind of a difference between mathematics curriculum in Japan and in Sri Lanka. So Japan's math examination is based on the high school level education in Japan, which will actually cover probably 1 or 2 years of university level education in Sri Lanka. So you will need to do more in mathematics along with your schoolwork. So you will definitely need more mathematics knowledge and problem solving skills in math. So that's what it makes it hard for Sri Lankan students to get scholarship on this program, and also the College of Technology. So moving on to the College of Technology, the requirement is almost the same as undergraduate, but here again the chemistry and physics are elective. So English, Japanese, mathematics are 3 core subjects that you need to be good at. Next slide, please. So here you are looking at the success rate of the Sri Lankan students for these 3 programs. So for research students, we actually have a sort of a quota given for Sri Lanka. So we have constantly sending students to Japan from Sri Lanka, the number of which is roughly around 8. The data shown here in this table is the data for the 2023 program. So there were 8 students recommended by the Embassy of Japan, and all of them have been accepted by the Ministry of Education. This is why this is the advantage of having a country quota. So if the embassy recommends, the Ministry of Education normally doesn't reject any of the students as long as they have found any strong reason to reject. So we have recommended 8 and accepted 8. So for undergraduate, there were 33 students who actually sit for examination, and 18 were interviewed, and we recommended 7 students, the 7 best students in this examination process, but none has been accepted by the Ministry of Education. So even the number 1 in Sri Lanka was not ranked high enough to be selected. For example, I don't know the exact number of undergraduate program scholarship students, but if, for example, if there are 1,000 students taken by the Ministry of Education, even the number 1 student in Sri Lanka was not ranked 1,000 or higher. So this is the meaning of this table. And the College of Technology is equally competitive, but luckily we had a very good student this year. So we nominated 1. We recommended 1 student from Sri Lanka, and that student was good enough to be accepted by the Ministry of Education. So again, research student will be the easier way to get the next scholarship. The undergraduate and college technology are very competitive, but at the same time, it should be very rewarding, and it's worth trying if you're interested in these programs. Okay, next slide, please. And you can see in this table, you actually see the very famous names. Probably some of them are very familiar names. They are all past MEXT scholarship recipients. And Professor Sampata Maratunga, who is the chairman of University Grant Commission, studied in Japan on the MEXT scholarship, and Vice Chancellor of University of Colombo studied in Japan, and so on and on. So we have a great pool of wonderful people who have studied in Japan and who have a very respectable and respected positions in Sri Lanka right now. So getting the MEXT scholarship is we can safely say that it's one of the surest way to be successful in Sri Lanka after completing your study in Japan. Next slide, please. Here's the information pages that we have put, the further information for study in Japan and application information of the scholarship programs. You can find in these links on the screen. So if you want, you can get that information probably from your university administrator, or you can just take a screenshot right now. All right, so thank you so much for your attention and for your interest in the MEXT scholarship program. And if there is a Q&A session following this, I would like to answer any of your questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kenji Inoue, for providing such an informative presentation, and no doubt it was very important for all our participants. Now we will go for the Q&A session, and you all are welcome to clarify your questions from our resource persons. You can post your questions in the chat section below, and we will try to answer them as much as possible. There are 2 questions that we have received from our participants so far, and these questions are for Ms. Yuri Ide. One is that one of our participants is asking that she's from Kelaniya, and she has an opportunity in University of Tsukuba, and whether she can apply for upcoming April intake for the scholarship.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm sorry, I think I should have been clearer on the scholarship program provided by JICA. Most of our scholarship program is designed for the government officials in Sri Lanka. So most of our scholarships program participants are the government officials at Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Labor, and so those government officials are the main target of the JICA scholarship program. So I suppose that you are currently at the students at Kelaniya University, then University of Kelaniya. Then, unfortunately, we do not have currently we do not have a scholarship program for the students. I hope it answers to your question.
Of course, that answers the question. And there's another question from one of our participants. He asked whether you can share the list of universities for research project. I think this is about SATREPS. Is there a list of universities that you can share that if any of our scholars would like to contact professors for research collaborations?
Actually, we are not in a position to introduce any Japanese university to the research institution in Sri Lanka. And we don't have such list of the Japanese universities, but we don't have any limitation on which universities and research institutions we can work together for the SATREPS project. So if you in your research area know any research, when you have any access to their academic papers, then you can start the discussion with the Japanese professors or the universities and start the discussions for any ideas on the joint research program.
Thank you very much, Ms. Yuri Ide. And there's another question. Actually, I wanted to ask because this question comes all the time when we conduct information sessions. Because you said that earlier, for most of the scholarships provided by JICA is for government officials. So for temporary staff members, there are government staff who are working temporarily or contract basis, not permanent government staff members, but that way. For those staff members, is it possible to apply for those scholarships?
Unfortunately, basically, I think it is difficult. We expect the participants to our scholarship programs will return to Sri Lanka and continuously contribute to the government and the country using the experience and the study in Japan. So I don't think we can offer our scholarship programs to the temporary staffs.
Thank you very much, Ms. Yuri Ide. And I think this question is for Mr. Kenji Inoue. One of our participants is asking about master degree programs, scholarships. I think this is about MEXT scholarship. Could you please explain regarding that, like masters and PhD, what is the procedure and how they can apply for MEXT scholarship? And is it important for them to be a government official or student, or whether it can apply for any other student as well.
Thank you so much for the question. For research student, this is for the, as I mentioned in the presentation, that for the master's degree and the doctoral degree. But the person, the applicant must be under the age of 35, as I mentioned, and who has the bachelor degree already. The successful recipient of this scholarship program will enroll in Japanese universities as a research student. It's not technically a master's degree student, but if in the first year of the scholarship, if the student is successful, and also if they have the recommendation from their mentor, I mean the professor of the university, they will be upgraded to the master's degree students. So they will become officially the master's degree student, usually after 1 year. And then again, if the students continue to be successful, and then after 2 years of the scholarship period, there is a chance for the students to extend the scholarship, and so that they will enroll in the doctoral degree program. So that is what happens. So they will start off as a research student. It's not a degree student, degree seeking student, but they will be upgraded depending on the performance in Japan to master's degree, and then finally, eventually, doctoral degree student. So this is what happens. I hope this answers your question.
Yes, thank you very much. That really answered the question. And this is also for Mr. Kenji Inoue. Some of our participants are asking whether they need to have Japanese language like JLPT or NAT exam to apply for this scholarship, MEXT scholarship, when they are applying for research programs.
The Japanese language proficiency is a requirement for undergraduate students and college of technology students, and there will be a dedicated Japanese language examination on these programs. So the JLPT or any other Japanese language proficiency test results are not required, but the applicants will actually take the Japanese language test within this scholarship examination framework. So that's what the students will be asked to do.
Yes, that means they do not need to have the
They don't.
Yes, okay, thank you. And the other question is that the GPA requirement, some says that they don't have a class, a general degree, and some says that they what kind of a GPA that they need to have to apply for the MEXT scholarship.
Okay, the GPA is especially important for the research student applicants, but there's no GPA requirements. If your GPA is 1.2, that's fine, you can still apply, but you will not be given an advantage in the process. So what the embassy will do is to select the best and the brightest from among the applicants. So the higher your GPA average is, the better. So that's basically it. So try to get as high GPA average as possible.
Yes, thank you very much. And there's one more question. If a candidate has a placement to study a PhD in Japan, but if he or she is at the age of 35 or 35 plus, what are the scholarships that he can apply for? I think because in order to apply for MEXT, they need to be below 35 years old. So if the person is above 35 and has a placement to study PhD, what kind of scholarship opportunities they have?
if the applicant is over the age of 35, that candidate, that applicant is not eligible for the embassy recommendation program. You will definitely want to contact the Japanese universities directly if the university, that specific university want to recommend that student and get the scholarship for the student. The university needs to communicate with the Ministry of Education if that specific person is eligible for the MEXT scholarship. So it's going to be outside of the embassy recommendation process. So, but the students still can reach out to Japanese universities to see if there's any universities that are willing to take that student and then also get the scholarship funding from the Ministry of Education. So that all depends on what that specific university wants to do.
Yes, thank you very much. That answered most of the questions. I think there are many other questions asking what are the other scholarship opportunities if they cannot apply for MEXT. And I think we have received a lot of questions, like 18 questions. But overall, I think most of them got answered from your answers. And I think regarding most of the students are asking about healthcare, medicine, nursing, sports, science, those kind of programs, whether they can find scholarships. I think that is also the same procedure. Is that so, Mr. Kenji Inoue?
Exactly. Whatever the area of study you want to enroll in, the procedure will be the same. So there are universities where there are like sports and science and nursing programs. There are a lot of them in Japan. So, but the scholarship selection process will be the same.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your detailed presentation and answering all the questions that had for our participants. I think many of your questions have been clarified from our two resource persons. So we have almost reached the end of the presentations and also the session as well, because it's 12:05 noon. So with this Q&A session, we are going to wind up the session. So, and there's one question from one of our participants, whether we can share the recording of this program, of course, through University of Peradeniya International Relations Office YouTube channel. We will share the recording so that you can have a look when we share it. With that, we have reached the end of today's program. Before ending up the session, I would like to extend our sincere gratitude to our resource persons, Mr. Kenji Inoue, the first secretary at the Embassy of Japan in Sri Lanka, and Ms. Yuri Ide, the senior representative of the JICA Sri Lanka Office, for conducting such important and very informative presentations and joining with us despite their very busy schedule. Also, I would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to Ms. Inada Arisa, representative, JICA Sri Lanka Office, and Mr. Tyagaraja Parameshwar, senior project consultant of JICA Sri Lanka Office, for all the support they gave us by coordinating this program. Having said that, I also want to express our sincere thanks to Dr. Panduka Neluwala, Acting Director of Sri Lanka Japan Study Center, for all the support he provided to make this program a success. Last but not least, I would like to thank the staff of the INRO for all the hard work they carried out to make the program a success. Thank you all, and with that, we have reached the end of today's program on international funding opportunities, especially Japanese scholarship programs. So, we will share the recording of the information session on our YouTube channel, as I said earlier. So do you have anything to
add? No, actually, that's all. Anyway, thank you. I want to thank the staff of URC and LITO also. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. With that, we are winding up the session, and thank you very much again for our two resource persons, Miss Yuri Ide and Mr. Kenji Inoue, and all the other persons who helped us to make this event a success. Have a nice day, and thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.
ありがとうございました。